Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've had a lot of breaking news over the last week or so, Danny.
We've got more coming later.
But this story might be the story that many people have been waiting for. And Danny, it sure looks like Kings Island is getting at least a B&M roller coaster in 2020.
Right.
Now,
it does.
Now, we are using sources from Coaster Nation. So if you go over to their website, you can find the documents that they found from the Warren County government. That there's a whole PDF right there. You can read through it. There's a whole lot of information. But I think some of the big things to look at is that they're talking about land, and they give years of 2018, 2019, and 2020.
Yep.
There's been numerous reports of clearing going on at Kings Island. Some have speculated it's for the new dorms that are supposedly going up. Some people have said they have seen clearings in other areas. We know Dinosaurs Alive is now gone. So these are all facts I'm giving you. It says that there are a number of companies listed here that will be partaking in this endeavor with Kings Island, and it's all the usual suspects here, as one would say, right? So
I have it here.
So who are some of the big ones that people might recognize here, Danny?
Well, the first one that stuck out to me, it was B&M Painting, which we know very well from being the company that does a lot of the painting of the roller coasters, specifically when Cedar Point talked about repainting Top Thrill Dragster. They talked very heavily about B&M Painting. You've got some other in here. You've got, some concrete companies, electrical, hydraulic companies, compressor and engine companies, and then Trident Engineering, which I have heard of. I've seen them at actually the career fairs at RIT. But the big one, Andy.
Yeah.
The big one, the last one listed here is Bolliger and Mabillard of Monty, Switzerland.
So we have that. We know they're involved. So we know that B&M is involved in a roller coaster that looks like it will be completed in 2020.
Yep.
Somewhere around that time. And then you can go through the rest of the document, and there's a whole lot of...
There's a whole host of information here, like coordinates and zones and all that nonsense.
And I think there's a few things to pick out of this. One, that we can kind of see that they're altering land, that they're going to change the way the land lays, so that that's one thing. And there's some locations given. They talk about the Little Miami River in here, the west bank of it, which is behind Banshee, behind Firehawk, runs right along that edge of the park. They also talk about Columbia Road. Columbia Road runs right behind Great Wolf Lodge. So we know that's another area of the park that they're talking about, that's a border, I should say. So I don't know. I don't have the time or the inclination to start typing in some of these numbers here to find coordinates. Maybe someone out there does. But we know, I think the bottom line is that there is endless land back there to be used.
There really is. So we know it's B&M, right? I mean, that's pretty stated here. Now, it should be said that, just because this paperwork is filed doesn't necessarily mean it's definitely happening. But this is the first step here. Typically when you get this far, we're pretty certain that something's going to happen here. So do you want to talk about the possibilities real quick about what this actually could be?
Well, I think there's nothing in this document really is a red flare that says, hey, it's this type of coaster. So, and sometimes...
Right. It doesn't give heights, really. It doesn't give...
like when we looked at the Kaga papers and said that, hey, it has some information on there that there's a height ordinance listed. Maybe those will come in the future. That, like you said, this is step one here. Changing the land. But so I think we can only make reasonable guesses at this point. So if we go through all of the B&M types of coasters, obviously Invert is out, Hyper is out.
I would rule out flying because of Firehawk.
Now I have heard rumors that Firehawk could be leaving, but
right, but there's a lot of wheels that have to be set in motion there. And would you be planning to build a flying coaster the year, like essentially the same off season that you're removing one? That seems to be a little bit much. So I'll rule out flying coaster. I'll rule out just a standard sit down coaster as well. We'll rule out stand up as well. And you could probably rule out floorless for the same reason that you would rule out the standard sit-down. So what you're left with really is a wing coaster, a dive coaster, and
what, Danny?
A Giga coaster.
Oh.
Now, this is the long-standing rumor here, and this is what KI fanboys have been clamoring for.
Or something completely new, too.
Well, and that's the fourth option is it something brand new that we haven't seen before?
So many people have been asking for the Giga coaster for so long.
I think everyone just automatically goes to that because everyone's been asking for it and saying that it was going to happen because, 10 years ago, everyone needed a hypercoaster. And now it seems like all the Cedar Fair parks, everyone wants the hypercoaster. Everyone wants the Giga coaster. Kings Dominion has it. Cedar Point has it. Carowinds has it. Kings Island would potentially be the next step. Canada's Wonderland has theirs. So Kings Island would be the next logical park to get a Giga coaster. We've never argued that fact.
No, and I thought it would happen a little bit later than this. In every
thinking 21, 22 maybe, but 2020.
In every single comment, I've said 2020 already looks to be like a stacked year. That we know Great America is getting a coaster, or we think Great America is getting a coaster out there. That is a hyper most likely.
We're assuming Cedar Point is going to get one for the 150th anniversary.
We assume that Cedar Point was getting 2 coasters, but
if Kings Island is going to say screw you, Cedar Point, in your 150th year, we're going to build a Giga coaster. I mean, the way that Cedar Point would one up them is we're going to build 2 coasters.
2 coasters. There's that. So I think it's a little early for Kings Island. Like we've made the attendance arguments. Yep. I'm not backing off on the attendance arguments anyway. I'm still. So don't think that we're like all of a sudden like, hey, oh yeah, Kings Island Giga, this makes a whole lot of sense. I'm saying that the paperwork has been filed. Things look likely for Kings Island to be getting a B&M coaster. And if they're getting a B&M coaster, the one highest, I think, on everyone's list would be a B&M Giga coaster. That if you're going to spend the $20 million on a B&M coaster, you might as well spend the 23 or 24 and do it really big. And I feel like that is what is happening here.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know if I could come up with a good argument to the contrary. I mean, nothing that I've seen in this document indicates that it would be any particular type, but I think Giga is the first one you go to.
And we know that Dinosaurs Alive closed. We know that there's been clearings going out behind Banshee for the longest time. Like I said, you can look at the webcams. You see the clearing out by Great Wolf Lodge, probably for the dorms. But then there's another clearing right behind the ride where Son of Beast used to kind of be, in that general area. But there's clearings back there, and you can see them on the Banshee webcams already. That there's plenty of room to put whatever you want. You can start it, and I don't know where they would start it. I don't know if they would start it and get rid of the amphitheater and start it there and have it towards the front of the park and move it backwards.
Maybe Congo Falls comes out too.
You start it in the back of the park at Dinosaurs Alive and have it shoot the other way. But I kind of feel like that's the location of this Giga. And like we said, there is more than enough room to put anything you want back there. So,
yeah, there's enough room to do really pretty much anything they would want to, whether it's a Giga coaster, wing coaster, something else, who knows. So it begins.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see if anything is said tomorrow at this announcement. That we know that they are doing a formal announcement at Kings Island tomorrow on National Roller Coaster Day. Yeah. We suspect that that's still going to be an announcement of the racer being, revamped in some way, shape, or form.
I think we're looking antique cars there.
and maybe seeing some flat rides come back, the antique cars being one of them. So I think we're going to see a whole Coney Mall revamp of that area, and I still think that's what we're going to see in 2019. We know this year they really didn't do much ride-wise. They put in the new smokehouse that a lot of people like, so saving a little money there. This year, if they just revamp Racer, spending a little money probably, definitely for sure, but probably saving over the long run. And then all, we're all in then for 2020 at that point, right? So
yeah, it would seem so.
So I guess the people have spoken and Kings Island has listened, and it looks like they might finally be getting that Giga that everyone's talking about.
Maybe. It's certainly possible.
And dive coaster, who knows?
Well, that's the hot trend right now in Cedar Fair all of a sudden, isn't it?
So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, go over to Coaster Nation to find those documents. They are all up there for you to look at. There's a whole lot of words. I don't want to post them on the screen because you'll go blind trying to read them. Go read them yourself.
Forget it.
Zoom in on it. So, as always, thank you for joining us here on COASTER-net Update. I'm, of course, Andy Rabarczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.